We've interviewed a lot of adventurers here on Daily Planet, people who've rappelled down volcanoes, flown solo around the globe, even those who've risked life and limb by heading straight into the eye of a hurricane. But this next story takes the cake for one seagoing Canadian couple who combined adventure with endurance. Limon is a busy cargo port on the east coast of Costa Rica. Definitely no tourist town. But today it looks like paradise to this Canadian couple. Two weary, bedraggled adventurers who are anything but tourists.
This is it! We're gonna make landfall after 5 months at sea.
5 months? That's how long Colin Angus and Julie have been rowing. That's right, rowing a boat across the ocean.
All right! Hello!
With local media waiting to find out more about the strange craft, they tie up to a Coast Guard vessel.
I think for now that'll be okay.
Colin and Julie are now the first people to row from continental Europe to mainland North America.
We have rowed almost 10,000 kilometers in a very rough, turbulent ocean, which would be the equivalent of cycling from Vancouver to Halifax and then back to Winnipeg again.
Colin is an experienced sailor and adventurer.
That's basically how I looked before the trip began.
His fiancée, Julie, is an endurance athlete.
I can't believe it. I can't believe our row is over and that we've made it across the entire Atlantic Ocean with just our muscles.
Their ocean odyssey began in Lisbon, Portugal, on board the Ondine, a 24-foot rowboat designed specifically for the open sea.
It's made from 1/4-inch plywood, very thin, but like an egg, as long as it doesn't hit anything, it is quite strong.
A series of watertight compartments make the boat bob like a cork on the waves, no matter how rough. And if it does capsize, it's designed to right itself.
We have 3 sets of oars. They're carbon fiber oars. They're about 11 feet long. They're extremely, extremely tough and light. But having said that, we broke 3 of them on this trip.
For most of the journey, one person rows while the other sleeps or tends to chores, navigating, cleaning and cooking.
This here is the cooking area. We have this wind block, and underneath this pot, we have our alcohol stove. And here is where we store most of our food.
Our boat is extremely chaotic right now because we just got hit by a big storm out in the sea. However, all the systems fortunately kept working.
Those systems include a VHF radio for hailing other ships.
By the way, my electric shaver didn't work very well.
A GPS navigation system and a satellite phone.
This is the Iridium satellite phone here. So this is how we phone Mom to let her know that everything is good.
A system of solar panels powers all the gadgets, including the most crucial gadget of all, a desalinator. It turns seawater into safe drinking water.
This here is salt water coming out, and this is the fresh water which comes in.
As amazing as their ocean voyage is, it's actually only part of a much bigger adventure. An attempt by Colin to become the first person to circumnavigate the globe using only human power. That journey started back in June 2004. Colin and Julie walked and rode bikes from Vancouver to Alaska. From there, Colin continued with another friend by canoe and rowboat across the Bering Sea, then cycled over the frozen Siberian tundra to Moscow. And that's where Julie rejoined the trek, riding with Colin through Europe to Lisbon. The final leg of the journey will take them again by bike up the west coast of North America back to Vancouver.
2 years in total. It's almost over, yeah. So in April it will be over.
But just making it this far is a huge accomplishment. Heavy storms and strong currents almost defeated them. Though there were good days too, like day 83.
We're having visitors. There's a sailboat we spotted in the distance and it's coming over to us.
This is literally in the middle of the Atlantic.
Oh my God, look, there's lots of candies and there's soup. It's what I've been dreaming about for weeks. Whenever we see a sailboat in the distance, I just think, oh, what if they would only see us and come over and give us a few little goodies? Well, that dream has finally come true.
And there were non-human visitors as well.
We saw a great white shark that circled our boat and swam underneath it, and it was probably almost as large as the boat itself. We also saw a lot of whales and dolphins, but one of the most spectacular things was the wildlife that we had follow us. We had a little ecosystem form under the boat. Happy birthday to you.
And the good times continued with a unique birthday celebration for Colin.
Somehow, Julie is able to make the most delicious birthday cake. Lady fingers soaked in coffee and rum. Oh my God, it's so good.
But as all sailors know, fortunes at sea depend entirely on the weather. And like the weather, they can change in an instant.
It's day 100. We've been hit by a hurricane, barely missed us. What it did give us was winds that pushed us back towards Africa. We're moving slow.
The long and short is we are way behind schedule because of all the contrary winds.
And the big risk in getting behind schedule is running out of food. Fishing skills were put to the test.
Our food would have only lasted just over 4 months, but with the fish that we caught 31 Dorado. We were able to stretch it out quite a bit. Right now I'm stringing up some fish so we can dry them in the sun.
The dried fish ended up being important fuel for the human-powered craft, with Colin and Julie each burning up to 5,000 calories a day rowing.
Once the fish are completely dry, we stick them in the fish bucket.
After 121 days at sea, they reached St. Lucia and were able to rest for a while. But once back on the water, the rowing only got harder.
But coming into Costa Rica, we had currents up to 2.5 knots against us. And we also had the wind against us too. So that meant that we had to be rowing at about 3 knots in order to move at maybe about 0.2 knots. It was extreme.